Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, the spotlight is back on the Khata-Khat model of the Congress. The Prime Minister today launched a fierce attack on the Congress model of governance, citing examples of Karnataka, Himachal and also Telangana. The Prime Minister cautioned voters against fake promises and said that making unreal promises is easy, but implementing them properly is tough or impossible. Taking to social media platform X, he said that campaign after campaign, Congress promises things to the people which they also know they will never be able to deliver. Now they stand badly exposed in front of the people. Calling on people to be vigilant against fake promises, he said that a vote for Congress is a vote for non-governance. Remember, this comes after a curious statement from Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister, which has now set the cat amongst the pigeons. D.K. Shivkumar's claim that the state government may review the Shakti Guarantee scheme has raised hackles within the Congress itself, with the Congress president pulling him up on a public platform, saying that such comments could become the subject of ridicule and arm the opposition.
Guarantee ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ 5 ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ 5 ನೋಡಿ ನಾನು 5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿನಿ ಈಗ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ 5 ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ನೀ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಒಂದು ಕೈ ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಿ ಇವತ್ತು
ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ
ನೀವು ಓದ್ತಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಪೇಪರ್ ನಾವು ಪೇಪರ್ನ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ ಸೊ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಪೇಪರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಕೇಳಿ
ಪರಿಷ್ಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ
ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಹೇಳ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿ ಈಗ ನಾವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಅನುಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದಾಗ ಯಾವುದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದೆ 5, 6, 10, 20 ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಇದೆ ಆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಗಳು ಕೊಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀವು ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಗಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿವಾಳಿ ಎದ್ದು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಬಟ್ಟಿ ಮಣ್ಣು ಹಾಕಕ್ಕೆ ಸಡಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಾರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಫೇಲ್ ಆದರೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಏನೂ ಇಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಹೆಸರ ಇಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ ಹೊರತಾಗಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೆಸರನ್ನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಡಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ 10 ವರ್ಷ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ ವನವಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ.
The episode naturally attracted sharp criticism from the NDA. Backing up the Prime Minister's attack, they accused the Congress of making unmindful and irresponsible promises that are burning the state's exchequer and pushing the government towards bankruptcy.
ಇದು ಮೊದಲನೆಯ ಹಂತ. ಇವರ 5 ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇದಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಿದ್ಧ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂದೇಶ.
The Congress party is a party of liars. Congress party is a party that promises the moon before elections and cheats the people right after elections. The discussion now around the Shakti scheme is an example or an extension of this reality of the Congress.
The reason for the flawed and reckless policies of the Congress state governments is because they have blindly followed the irrational and absurd Khata-Khat voodoo economics of Rahul Gandhi. The voodoo economics of Rahul Gandhi is responsible for this financial mess.
Amidst the heated political slugfest, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah pinned the blame on the central government. He says that despite revenue contribution of over 4 lakh crore rupees, Karnataka gets only 15% returns. Deputy CM D.K. Shivkumar too slammed the BJP, accusing them of creating an unnecessary issue.
ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 4 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕೋಟಿಯನ್ನು ತೆರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಎರಡನೇ ರಾಜ್ಯ. ನಾವು 4 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ತೆರಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಕೇಂದ್ರದಿಂದ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾಲು ನಾವು ಪಡಿತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಸುಮಾರು 55 ರಿಂದ 60 ಸಾವಿರ ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿಗಳು ಮಾತ್ರ. ನಾವು 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ತೆರಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ನಮಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು 14 ರಿಂದ 15 ಪೈಸೆ ಮಾತ್ರ.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's now take this across to our guest. Joining us live, we have with us Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of BJP. Karan Verma, author, is with us. Vijay Sardana, senior economist, is joining us on the show. We also have with us Siddharth Sharma, spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party. Syed Asad Abbas is a political analyst joining us. But my first question goes to Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen Poonawalla, a rather interesting set of comments that have come in from Mr. Kharge in the presence of the Karnataka Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister, and his advice is rather different from what we were hearing for the Congress as far as the guarantees are concerned. He has in essence said that the promises made should be in consonance with the kind of budgets that are available, otherwise it's going to wreak all kinds of havoc. Now, just ahead of the Maharashtra polls that his wisdom has dawned, is it because the experience of Karnataka and Himachal has shown that the Congress has overpromised, as the BJP is alleging?
Madhav, at the onset, wish you, your family members, your little one, all the fellow panelists, their families and all the Times Now viewers a very, very happy Diwali. Maybe all have a good Diwali.
Wish you the same. Yes.
Thank you, Madhav. Madhav, I think what Kharge ji has put very publicly forward is exactly what Congress stands for. Because you mentioned Maharashtra, let me just put it. The Election Commission, I'm saying this with a lot of responsibility on national television at a time on a very auspicious day, allowed for elections in Maharashtra to be postponed, only for BJP and its allies to make promises and to go on a rampage in making promises. And then look at the kind of promises they've made. In fact, when you speak to bureaucrats in Maharashtra, they are scared of the record. Will they even get their salary? Maharashtra is India's richest state by a distance. BJP has gone on a rampage. Look at the kind of schemes they put out, and this election has been postponed. Anyways, the Congress model is not like the BJP model. That's point number one. Point number two, you mentioned Himachal. In fact, Himachal is on its way to be the most prosperous state. A lot of lies are said that the officers did not get their salaries. It was changed from 1st to 5th, only so that at 4 days interest is saved. I don't want to get into details. All that is in public domain. Since then 2 months, they've been getting their salaries. Stories have disappeared. Actually, there's another issue. What has been said, and when did this come up? And DK said that, look, we will review every scheme. It is the government's duty to review every scheme. The national president of the Congress has said schemes and promises should be made looking at budget, which is a responsible statement. But I want to make one thing extremely clear, because a lot of lies will be told in your show. So I'm going to make this extremely clear. We are a welfare state, and I'm a capitalist, right? Capitalism actually leads to welfareism. And it is our duty, at least it is my duty when I will be in government, to ensure women get an equal share of the pie. So it is the duty of the Karnataka government to ensure that women participation in labor force and workforce remains very high, which under the Narendra Modi government has fallen from a staggering 44% when UPA was in government to 38%. 38%. So women are leaving the workforce. So if this is one of the ways to get women to work, we cannot have 50% of our population not working.
Tehseen, today you have DK Shivkumar saying we are getting feedback that women want to pay for their bus fees. So what are we talking about? DK Shivkumar is saying that, the Deputy Chief Minister.
That's true.
The debate has gone on from there. The debate has taken a complete 180-degree somersault.
That's true. And there may be some women, and I get it, there may be some women who may be privileged enough who may say, look, I can pay, and I understand that. But a scheme, when it's made by a government, is made for larger population. And one of the reasons why after COVID and under this government, women participation, and I'm quoting the Niti Aayog figures and various other figures, including RBI, has fallen from 44% during UPA 2 to a staggering 38%, is one of the major issues is transportation. I mean, so many debates we've had, Madhav, is women transportation. So if a government thinks, listen, this is our welfare model, we will get women to work so that women can
participate. But it's a welfare model, and one part of the welfare model, there are 4 others. There were 5 guarantees, and together the guarantees appear to be draining the exchequer, and that's a realization that Mr. Kharge appears to have had. Well, he's nevertheless given this advice publicly, Tehseen. We can argue this.
No, Actually, he's not said that he's draining the resources. He said that these guarantees have been repeated in Maharashtra. I read it very clearly.
And only promise the guarantees which you can deliver on. That's the bottom line. But let me bring in Shazia Ilmi, since you've taken the example of BJP. The BJP has been doing pretty much the same. In Maharashtra, you have also overpromised with scheme after scheme after scheme. And, you know, he's drawing a comparison between the BJP's own track record when it criticizes the Congress on this aspect. Please respond, Shazia Ilmi.
So, Madhav, let's have a serious conversation based on reality. So, firstly, I would like to say Firstly, I would like to say that see the economy of this country, my country, your country, India, which is the 5th largest economy, despite the biggest program there is for food allocation to the poor, for more than 80 lakh people who are given free rations. Whether it's the toilets, whether it's Ujjwala Yojana, whether it's all the money saved because of DBT, which is 3,50,000 crores every year, only because our Prime Minister and our government ensured that there has to be pre-budgetary allocation. There has to be a thought. Yes, there have to be welfare schemes, but the welfare schemes should not drain the economy, should not drain the exchequer. They have to be provided for within the budget of the country. Because I was getting, and this is exactly why where the BJP states go, you realize that there is a surplus because there has been thought and planning. When it comes to Congress party, you are seeing what's happening in Himachal. You know what's happening in Telangana. You know what's happening in Karnataka, Himachal and Telangana, where they don't even have money to pay the government employees. Karnataka, you know, there is Muda schemes, there is so much of internal, wars going on, and there is complete corruption there. But more than that, it is very easy to say. And let's not forget what Rahul Gandhi did, the Khata-Khat and Phata-Phat. It's very easy to just go everywhere, fool the people of this country, make fun of them, mock their economic status and say, we will give you 6,000 and not have a plan in a feather-brained head of yours as to what you're going to do. So when you provide in a welfare state schemes that just reach the people, you have to do it without corruption, you have to do it with planning, you have to do it with pre-budgetary allocation, and you have to make provision for it. Now this is serious stuff. And not lies, because otherwise it becomes like bribery.
Okay, I want to bring in Syed Abbas on that point. Syed Abbas, there has to be proper planning, and also just look at the kind of statements that have come in from the Prime Minister. He's saying that the Congress was realizing the hard way that making unreal promises is easy, but implementing them properly is tough or impossible. Campaign after campaign, they promise things to the people, which they also know they will never be able to deliver. Now they stand badly exposed in front of the people. Syed Abbas.
Madhav, I stay here in Bengaluru city, here in Karnataka, and I promise you on the front, on Times Now, with full responsibility, that all 5 schemes, Gruha Jyoti, Gruha Lakshmi, Anna Bhagya, Yuva Nidhi, including the free bus rides for women, all are working. Now let me give you the official statement of the Deputy Commissioner.
All are working means what? Syed Abbas, they may have been implemented, partially implemented. The point is they're just too expensive, which is why from increasing KSRTC fees, from increasing excise duty, number of measures that the state government has had to do to mop up resources. That's quite evident now.
Resources, every state here in India need to mop up on resources, Madhav Saab. That is very clear. Be it a BJP rule state or a Congress.
We're talking about being responsible fiscally.
Now, if
you make some certain promises, and just to fulfill them, you can't drive the government bankrupt.
Allow me to complete my point.
You're making generalizations which just don't make sense, Mr. Abbas.
So don't interrupt. Please allow me 30 seconds.
If you make sense, certainly I will not. But then you have to make certain arguments which are logical on national television, please.
It is absolutely logical. You need to see it with the reasoning. You need to hear me again. What I said, all are working. All have been implemented. None of the promises have been taken back. Now, the official statement of DK Shivkumar, please hear carefully. I said that some private company employees are getting transportation allowance and have volunteered to pay for the tickets. How can we force someone if they want to pay for the tickets? He even cited the example of PM Modi, call for citizens to give up gas cylinder subsidy if they do not need it. That has been the statement which has been carried by local Kannada newspapers as well.
Yes.
Review does not mean a pulling back of the same. This is merely he asked for a review on the implementation of this particular scheme because the working class of the women were volunteering themselves to pay for the ticket. Like PM
So what do you do when you have a review?
Those who are willing to give up, it's okay.
So what do you do when you have a review? What is doing a review?
Review does not mean you'll take an immediate action and scrap it. You will review it.
Okay, but you may take an eventual action to scrap it.
How can you hypothetically say that? Are you a part of the government to say review will work or not?
Mr. Abbas, when you review something, obviously under consideration is which parts of the scheme have to remain and which parts have to go. That's how a review works.
Review
Please don't embarrass yourself on national television like this. Karan Verma. Please respond to what Abbas is saying. He's saying it's a review, but that doesn't mean the scheme will go. We will review it, but the scheme will not go. How does he know? I don't know.
So let me give some numbers which can be an honest review of where Karnataka stands today. Madhav, when BJP left office back in 2023, the inflation in Karnataka was 3.27%. Today it has ballooned to 6.1%. It's more than the national average. One of the 4 states which have inflation more than the national average, almost doubled. To give you more perspective, the schemes which they have talked about, they cost a whopping 56,000 crores per year. In fact, Karnataka's debt has ballooned to 5.5 lakh crores. It's unsustainable. 1,200 farmers have committed suicide. They have companies like Deloitte and Ernst & Young on their board which have said you need to monetize your assets in order to pay for your bills. They have cut down their infrastructure budget, Madhav, by 28%. It is unprecedented. It was 77,000 crores from 23 to 24. Today is 55,000 crores. Can you imagine for a growing state to cut down on infrastructure budget? So the truth is, farmers are committing suicide. Commodities, whether it is milk, eggs, petrol, diesel, everything's price has shot up. So who are you kidding today? Today we are staring at a fiscal disaster in Karnataka that needs to be fixed. We cannot make loose statements that, oh, resources are there, money grows on trees. We cannot come up with that. We have to make proper allocations, and it's only honest here if we say that some of the schemes are absolute freebies. They are all for welfare states, but not if it's not sustainable in the long run. Then you are just buying the voters for the vote and then leaving them high and dry, because sooner than later this is going to catch up. I'll give you another example. They are giving 500 rupees in inflation reduction per month. उधर से 500 रुपए दे रहे हैं, उधर से inflation double हो रही है. So what kind of a hideous model are they following in Karnataka? They need to answer on that.
Respond to that. Respond to that, Saeed Abbas. There are the statistics that Karan has given. Is there anything that you can factually or in any way factually prove him to be wrong?
Well, of course, Madhav Saab, I have made my statement there. There is also an official statement of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, who's clarified on the same, that his deputy meant to say that the scheme would be revised and it is not the final. By saying revision, this does not mean it is going to be the end of the scheme. And that's enough for those who want to criticize. That is the Bharatiya Janata Party. So there will be a revision on the same. There is no talk of rollback. There is no talk of cancellation of the scheme. It is only a review. It is not the final decision.
Right, right. So Mr. Kharge's words are not, in fact, going to perhaps find residence there, is what you're suggesting. But let me bring in Vijay Sardana. Vijay Sardana, those who support, in fact, the Karnataka government will come out with the argument that this is one state which has recorded a strong GSDP growth of 10.2%, and this is significantly higher than the national average of 8.2%, according to the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation data. Now, this is, of course, despite various challenges, including the worst drought in a decade, etc., that have been reported by the state government. And in that context, is it fair to evaluate the performance of a state government only on the basis of the guarantees? Your response, Mr. Sardana.
Good evening to all of you and your viewers. I think the problem is when we try to make life complicated. Life is not that much complicated as much you are trying to make it. Let's talk very simple numbers. I'm discussing the budget which is presented by the government of Karnataka. I think that is the only document which we can rely upon. I'm quoting few numbers from there, and that will explain that Karnataka government knows they are in a problem. The total revenue which is generated, projected to be generated this year by state government is 2.63 lakhs. And revenue expenditure in the same budget document is 2.9 lakhs. There is a proverb in Hindi, udhar lege ghee peena. You don't have a money, your own resources to meet your day-to-day requirement, which is your revenue expenditure. So you have to borrow more. That is one. Now look at another bigger tragedy why Karnataka is in fix. There is something called committed expenditure, means salary, pension and interest payment. Okay? This you have to give, whether you get your salary or not, whether states survive or not, these are committed expenditure under the law. In 2022-23, it was 44% of the revenue collected by the state. It has increased to 58% this year. It means whatever revenue you are collecting, 60% is already committed. Remaining is 40% in which you have to run all the schemes. And for essential services like healthcare, education, anything you talk about, you don't have money. So what is happening? You are landing up borrowing more and more. It means next year, your committed expenditure will cross 64-65%. Okay. Down the line 5 years, your condition will be like Punjab, where committed expenditures are 85%. In simple common sense language, दिवालिया घोषित होने की तैयारी है.
Okay.
अब politicians will try to justify ये नहीं होगा, वो नहीं होगा, GDP this that. भाई पैसे चाहिए, उसको GDP बोलो, भिखारी बोलो, लोन लो, कुछ भी लो, बिना पैसे के दुनिया नहीं चलती है. Karnataka government does not have money to meet their own expenditure. That is why they are forced to review their freebie schemes, nothing else.
Okay. Okay, Siddharth Sharma, would you like to come in on this? Because, you know, it has a bearing on all the state governments. When governments come out and offer all these kinds of subsidies, you know, all kinds of schemes, at the end of the day, you do not want a situation where the governments do not have the money to pay back or, you know, have an unsustainable level of debt. And in fact, Punjab is one government which is also a case in point that has been pointed out by BJP in the past.
Yeah, Madhav, hope I am the last but not the least person who is given the time. Anyway, I'll try to build up, sir. I'll try to build upon my arguments from what you essentially said. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that these kind of schemes, the key is budgeting and it has to be fiscally responsible. So there are three universal principles we all agree to. The first is that money doesn't grow on trees. The second is that money is exchanged for goods. And the third is everyone who takes money and doesn't give goods back is a cheat. Now, every Indian family pays rupees 53,000 per year to BJP central government as tax. Exactly the same way, every Delhiite also pays 28,000 rupees to Aam Aadmi Party government as tax. Now, and Aam Aadmi Party, in lieu of that money received, gives back universal health care to entire family, gives back universal education to the kids of the family, gives universal electricity to the entire family, entire household, gives universal water to drink, gives free transport to women in the family, and gives also Tirth Yatra to the elders of the family. And despite all these so-called reveries, the CAG, which is the Constitution's premier auditing body, says Arvind Kejriwal model is running in profit. Now, what is stopping BJP from giving the same services to all Indians from the 16 lakh crore rupees tax that it collects every year? Why is BJP spending 8,400 crore rupees on Modi Ji's 2 Boeing planes and not facilitating all Indians free travel to Ayodhya? Basically, I think the freebie is a misnomer, because would Times Now say Modi gave freebie when India provided free vaccines during COVID? No, we won't say that. Or is Modi government doling out freebies when it is distributing free rations to 80 crore below poverty line people of India? No, we can't say that. So if I travel in a train without a ticket and I get penalized, then the Prime Minister flying in his Boeing without a ticket becomes a freebie, right? Same yardstick.
No, I think we are definitely not equating, doing justice there. Yes, when you talk about rations and whether they can be called freebies or not, you may have a fair point, Mr. Siddharth Sharma, but let me take that question across to Vijay Sardana. Vijay Sardana, do the yardsticks apply nationally? I mean, I'm not even going to dignify that Boeing comment, because I think there's a totally different function that the Prime Minister has when he goes abroad. We can argue whether that's desirable or not, but at the end of the day, whether this kind of freebie culture, when opposition states do it, it's called reveries, freebies, etc. When the BJP does it, it's not called a revedi or a freebie. Please respond to that particular point coming in from Mr. Sharma.
I think Mr. Sharma should read the budget of Aam Aadmi Party, number one. If they are so great, why they are hiding 12 CAG reports? Now, matter has gone to Delhi High Court, and on 9th they will decide what to do with them. If you are so great, why you are doing it? You were surplus 4 years ago, not now. So don't quote old CAG report, number one. You have a tendency to hide the facts. Number two, the fact here is, if you have surplus budget, why the capital expenditure in Delhi has gone down by 30% in this budget? Because you don't have money. You have consumed everything. Your roads are in bad condition. You are not able to control flood. Your sewages are blocked. Your schools are in bad situation. High Court said that you have not even paid the basic stationery for 6 lakh students. Your OPD and casualty wards in a bad shape. All these cases are in Delhi High Court. If you want, I will give you the references. So my only references is, please don't mislead the country. You are having a only agenda of freebies. Please continue. You will make the Delhi bankrupt. There is no problem. People will change you. So don't worry on that account. But point is, don't suppress the facts. They exist. That is one aspect. Second important issue we have to look at is that freebies are always liabilities. They are not welfare schemes. If there is a welfare scheme, there has to be a criteria. Person below so much income, person having so much deficiency are entitled. Anyone and everyone, even prosperous people, citizen of Delhi, please understand, Delhi is the state which has the highest per capita income in the country.
Okay.
And if you are giving freebies, it is shame that you are insulting the entrepreneurship of Delhi and respectable people you are giving bribe.
Okay.
So what we are trying to
Let me come in now. I want Siddharth Sharma to respond to that. A, that you are referring to an older report. Your capital expenditure is actually down now. And it is a fact that Delhi's roads have been in complete shambles. But the fact that he is making, and the larger point he is making is this, that don't compare welfare schemes with freebies, because welfare schemes have a clearly defined criteria of below poverty or particularly targeted vulnerable groups that they are aimed at, unlike freebies which are there at large for everyone in society. Please respond to that specific point, those 2 points, Mr. Sharma.
Yeah, the BJP ecosystem can be all smug and condescending and descend to 200 below 200 par after saying 400 par, and 68% of India will be happy for it. The point here is that when he says about below poverty line, what is he saying? When the Prime Minister of India opened up vaccines to each citizen of India, he was wrong. That's what, according to his argument, that would come out. Because
so you're saying India should not have gone for a vaccine program?
I'm saying India should have gone out. I'm saying the speaker earlier to me is contradicting himself when he says that these kind of schemes have to be only for a particular section. Obviously, when Modi ji opened up the vaccines, it was not for a particular section. It was for the entire India.
Sir, all countries in the world there was a global pandemic. How is this relevant to this debate?
Because BJP thinks that whatever it is okay, but if
No, 1 second, please, one at a time. Mr. Sharma, see, one thing is about talking about giving free bus rides. One thing is talking about, Shakti, also all the schemes that are there before us in Karnataka. He is talking about the various schemes that the AAP government has given in Delhi. Comparing that, when you first compared it with the aircraft, then you're comparing it with the pandemic. Are these situations even comparable is my question to you, Mr. Sharma.
Why? Because the BJP ecosystem says so.
Let me tell you why we have to give free.
What does this have to do with the BJP ecosystem? It is about government policy and how you react in emergency black swan events.
That's exactly my point. Aam Aadmi Party doesn't give freebies. Aam Aadmi Party gives goods for the money it has already received. And the BJP is sitting 400 crore rupees every year income tax the Delhiites are paying. BJP in return is giving only 325 rupees. It is like my grandfather giving me 325 rupees pocket money when I give him 2 lakh rupees of my salary every month. That is what the BJP is doing.
I think this is a fair point, because this is a point that is being made by Karnataka as well. Mr. Sardana, I'm going to come to Shazia also on this, because Mr. Sardana, this is a point they are repeatedly making, that states such as Karnataka do not get their due share of the kitty that comes from the center, despite the kind of taxes that are collected from states such as Karnataka. The the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson also has a similar point to make. How do you respond to these charges that repeatedly come up from the opposition side?
Let me give you a live example of Delhi. In March, when COVID was declared countrywide, Delhi government was busy in making liquor policy from April to November. Look at the dates. There was no oxygen in the country. In the Delhi city hospitals, they were busy in liquor policy. The money was diverted to make sheesh mel in the same month. Point is that when the focus was not on governance, central government has to give the freebies in the name of vaccine, because when there is somebody who is failing in their duty, somebody has to fill the gap. So what we have to look at is that we have to look at the fact that when liquor policy was created, when Kejriwal's Mahal was created, when there was a peak of COVID time, this is bad governance, and now you are covering by in the name of freebies. As far as governance is concerned, the problem in all the state government is, look at the revenue and tax collection. All the states are failing in bringing the tax revenue. Neither investment is coming there, nor they are able to create some employment opportunities. So what is happening? The revenue is constant. Freebies expenditures are going down, going up in Karnataka. Look at very clearly. The committed expenditure, the borrowing of Karnataka in 2020-23 was only 44,000 crore. Now the borrowing in this budget is crossed 1 lakh. It is 1,05,000 crore. It means what? You are increasing expenditure, but you are not having any scheme to generate
Well, is there
revenue.
room for increasing expenditure is itself a big question, Vijay Sadhana. But, you know, in the peak of elections right now, Tehseen Poonawalla, when you have the Prime Minister saying the people of country have to be vigilant against Congress-sponsored culture of fake promises. We saw recently how people of Haryana rejected their lies. And, of course, he says that they want a government that's stable, progress-oriented, action-driven. There's a growing realization that a vote for Congress is a vote for non-governance, poor economics and unparalleled loot. He also goes on to say that in Karnataka, Congress is busier in intra-party politics and loot instead of even bothering to deliver on development. Not only that, they're going to roll back existing schemes. Now, whether the government decides to or not, at least the indication from Mr. Kharge's side is that there is an instruction coming in to review whether there should be a rollback or even a partial rollback, if you can call it that. And this is certainly something that's going to be the subject matter of debate, Tehseen.
I think that's a great subject matter of debate, but let me please clarify a lot of falsehoods spoken on your very important show. First of all, let me begin with the BJP spokesperson. She said, and you may cross-check me, she said the union budget was in a positive. That's not true. It is also in a deficit. It's in a deficit of 4.9%. I cannot believe you can come on national TV and make up numbers. She also said that the Mudda scheme was a big scam. She's right on that. The Mudda, first of all, Mudda was not a scheme. It was another, it was not a scheme. But the Mudda scheme or whatever that was implemented, whatever she meant, was done by the BJP government suspended by Siddaramaiah. But she's right on the Mudda of fraud. Let's come to the larger issue at hand, which is we're discussing the tax unfairness before I answer your specific question. In the 15th Finance Commission, southern states, their share has gone down to 15.8% of the total tax revenue has gone down to 15.8% from actually 21% that was earlier under 14th Finance Commission. The 15th Finance Commission also gives a larger weightage on tax distribution to population. Guess who suffers? The southern states suffer, including the state of Karnataka. So, for example, from 2021-22 to 23-24, 24-25, Karnataka is suffering a deficit loss of 1,600 crores every year. For what fault of this? For keeping the population under control. You know what does the 15th Finance Commission do? It also gives weightage to landmarks. So, obviously, a state like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar gets more in tax revenues than a state like, say, Kerala or Telangana, which actually perform much better and contribute much more to the economy. Now, I'm not saying Uttar Pradesh and Bihar should not get help. I am saying please give them help, but that is unfair that the criteria is completely changed in the 15th Finance Commission. Now, let's come to the point you raised. Should any scheme be reviewed? I agree with my brother Abbas. All schemes must be reviewed. All governments do it. Is there a proposal where if somebody like the Prime Minister said wants to give up a gas subsidy? Yes, you can work on that. But should that be done in public? No, I agree with Kharge ji, because these guarantees are the cornerstone of Congress coming to power. The Congress delivers guarantees. It's a welfare model based on economic growth, not a welfare model based on how the current finance minister did, where I remember Mr. Sardana was on show with me, and the current finance minister got an inheritance tax, albeit another way. She got in long-term capital gain, short-term capital gain, and then the bureaucrats shamelessly said, oh, but you know what? You don't lose any money in profit shares, so why not even increase long-term capital gain? That is not the budget we want. We want to increase revenue and then spend on welfare.
Let me bring in Shazia, since you've referred to her specifically. Shazia, your comments of it being a positive budget are factually incorrect, and B, why is it that certain states such as Karnataka have which should have a much higher devolution, are not getting it? Is the question coming in from Tehseen? It's a question that Congress has repeatedly asked of the centre.
So, I mean, I really don't care for Tehseen's questions because half the time even he can't comprehend what he's saying. But let me just give you some facts and figures.
He's accusing you of being factually incorrect. He can set the record straight on that.
Do you know, for the first time...
It is not a question of whether Tehseen has asked it or not. If you're factually incorrect,
can you please be quiet?
Please respond to what he is saying.
I'm answering. No, Madhav, if you don't want me to speak, I won't speak. Keep speaking. When you're done, I'll answer the question.
Shazia, I don't know why you're getting upset. He has asked you a question, he's accusing you of lying on national television. I'm asking you to just clarify that point.
I'm getting upset. I want to say what I want to say. Because Madhav, because I want to say what I want to say. You don't have to parrot his line. I have so much to say about all the things that I've heard. So I don't know why you're parroting what he has to say.
Madam, this is a debate. No, there's no need for you to lose your calm. I'm sorry. There is absolutely no need for you to lose your calm. It's a debate. Questions are being asked of all political parties, including your own.
Why are you still speaking? You still, Madhav, you don't have to parrot him. Madhav, I have something to say.
Please say it, madam, then please say it. Instead of unnecessarily accusing me of parroting someone's lines, please say that then.
Oh my God. Okay, let it be. Thank you. Thank you, Madhav. You don't want me to speak. I will not speak. I will be quiet. Thank you. You keep parroting what you have to say. I'm sitting here. You can carry on.
All right, that's your call, Shazia Ilmi, completely your call. But Karan Verma, would you like to take those two questions? Because he says that is a comment, particularly on the devolution of funds that come in for states such as Karnataka. He says that this is something that should have been done. Why is it not being done? Karan Verma, please respond to this scene.
So it's a valid question. I mean, there has been a question about devolution of funds, but you know, this cannot be an alibi for the poor management of the financial resources that Karnataka has. 54,000 crores spent just to fulfill these schemes. And there has been no plan to grow in the exact proportion of that. The fact that they're monetizing their assets, and I gave a whole slew of numbers, right from inflation going up to other things, the prices of commodities going up. You cannot base everything on the fact that devolution of taxes hasn't happened timely. Because even if it would have happened as Tehseen proposed, what would have it led to? 1,600 crores is what he just said, I think. I don't have the exact number off the cuff. But even then, today the debt has galloped up to 5.5 lakh crores in Karnataka. This year itself, they've added around, I think, 75,000 crores. So, you know, you can't predicate everything on this when the fact is there is gross financial mismanagement. And there's a difference, Madhav, between empowerment and freebies. When you give a gas connection, that is empowering. But if you have to foot every bill, that is a freebie. If you give an electricity connection, that is empowerment. But if you have to pay all the bills, that is again freebie. And for the Aam Aadmi Party, just one simple point. Delhi Jal Board, it was in surplus before they took power. Today it is 70,000 crores in debt. In the last 2 years, the CAG that the AAP spokesperson pointed out, the CAG has gone to the court and said, this party is not even turning the books of the government. The government hasn't turned its books. There is gross mismanagement from 21, 22 to 23. So, you cannot blame taxes on the fact that you've not managed your resources well. The truth is, ताउम्र यही गलती करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करता रहा, धूल आपके चेहरे पे है, you need to manage your resources better.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for the moment. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. Tehseen Poonawalla, Syed Asad Abbas, Siddharth Sharma, Vijay Sardana, Karan Verma and Shazia Ilmi. Thank you so much for joining us indeed.